Welcome to Minutes by Minutes. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Dave Kenny.
And we're here to talk about what goes on in the village, the township. You know, those government people that make regulations, laws, and ordinances that affect you out there.
That's right, Elgin. And whether you live in the village of Leonard, the village of Oxford, Oxford Township, or Addison Township, these are the people that you went and elected. And the commissions and the committees that make decisions that directly affected you, whether you chose to go to that meeting or not. And the result could be a very taxing situation.
Or it could be a humorous situation, because there's humor.
Not if it's a taxing situation.
It could be taxing. That could not be so humorous, so if it occurred to you. So like Dave says, you want to attend these meetings and get as much out of it as you can.
That's
and
right.
if you don't, tune in to us and get the other side of the story.
You might as well have some input.
Complete with rumors here, though.
Well, we have to add some juice to the story.
Yes, we do. And here comes the juice. Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay. We're going to talk about several meetings that occurred. One is the Oxford Area Communications Commission meeting, which is dear to our heart.
Our parent body.
It is our parent body. And then the Oxford Planning Commission meeting, the village. We're going to talk about that. And if we get time, we're going to talk about the Oxford Village Council special meeting that just occurred, actually last night. But by the time you folks view this, it will have...
I've said it before, and I'll say it again. That's usually a single-purpose meeting.
It is, and it was. Pretty much, it was. Okay, well, let's get on with the Oxford Area Cable Communications Commission meeting. And that was held on September 25th.
Yep.
And Sue Bassardit is the chairperson, but she was absent at that particular
That's
meeting.
right. Shar took over.
Yeah, she did. But she actually showed up later.
Yep.
And
Did Char relinquish the chairmanship at that point?
she offered it, but Sue Bassardit said, "No, go ahead." And she said, "I'll sit on the sideline."
Take the helm.
Take the helm, yep. So Shar charged ahead. And Ed Hunwick serves on that board, as well as Lori Fisher, who's a treasurer with Addison Township, and Bill Dunn, who is the supervisor, of course, of Oxford Township. Now, I got a little segue here into Lori Fisher. She finished,
segue.
yes, she finished this meeting, but to recap it on the end, she actually resigned from the Communications Commission meeting, and we'll talk about that.
But not at
later.
that meeting.
Not at that meeting. It was after the meeting. So, but we'll talk a little bit more as we go along, shall we?
Shall we?
Okay, we shall. Okay, so they did the pledge, and let me see. They covered the agenda. They approved the agenda. Public opportunity to speak, not on the agenda. Looked around. Nobody said anything. Nobody raised their hand. Nobody rushed over to speak.
Checking out their shoes.
They're checking out their shoes. Minutes for July 24th were approved. And Bill Dunn, though, he said he had objections to the current attorney, Bob Davis, serving
Right.
on several different community business groups, you know, and having
True.
input.
Yeah. And
Right?
the OACCC actually does have an attorney that handles PEG station affairs.
That's Mike Wattside.
Mike
I believe,
Watsa.
right?
Right.
And he's very skilled and trained.
Right.
As far as the communications business is.
That's his cup of tea.
But I think Bob Davis, he handles pretty much general
Yeah, he handles
requirements,
local stuff. Yeah.
contracts, that kind of thing. But anyway, anything to do with communications, actually, I personally think that Mike Watson should get involved in it. But
But he
anyway,
represents a ton of other PEG stations.
he does. So anyway, they covered the bills from 9/4 to 9/18, and the amount of those bills is $21,822.40. Get your checkbook out.
Well,
Okay.
if you're going to produce, you got to
40
spend.
cents. Yeah, money well spent. Let me see. Reviewed the budget. Spent some time talking about that. And then the budget revision. Lori Fisher brought up about the revision to the budget. That one line item could be changed. Otherwise, the budget looked pretty good.
What line item was that?
Year. She actually didn't say.
Probably the outstanding balance.
Yeah, do you recall? Because you were there.
No.
Okay, there we got it. That's the official word. I don't know.
You were there too, virtually.
I was. I was sitting in the audience, so not
As
really
I said,
allowed to
you were
speak.
virtually there.
Virtual reality. I was in the background. Okay.
We thought he was there, but
Yeah, well, that's the way it goes. Anyway, let me see the manager's report. Bill Service. He spoke about Seymour Park TV station, possibly having a location in that area.
Our future home,
Our future
perhaps.
home. And actually, Bill Dunn jumped up and said, look, we need to approve this, get it moving, get the architectural plans that we're going to decide to do this.
I think at that time we had 512 days before our lease got up.
Yes, you're keeping count by the day.
You betcha.
Boy, almost like he recalls his old days when he was in prison. Mark it off.
XXX/.
Anyway, or in the military. You folks that were in the military out there. But anyway, so Bill Dunn, he made a motion actually to take $300,000, up to $300,000, to build the building and also provide furniture and so forth required, excuse me, for the building once it was completed.
Right.
In other words, in totality, $300,000. And they actually have, do you recall how much money they have in their fund right now?
It's over 300. It's about $460,000
That's
roughly.
what I believe too. Let me see what happened there then. Capstone presentation. Do you recall what went on there? It was Drew Benson
Yep.
who spoke, and he wants to do a survey of the people out there. You folks will be getting a postcard, I believe, in Addison Township and the various townships that were involved in the village and so forth.
Marketing study,
Yeah,
basically.
it's a marketing study asking you questions about OCTV and what your, and what you feel should happen with the station here. So, do you want to add any more to that?
Well, basically, it's do you like what we got, and do you have any suggestions
Yeah.
relative to where we could go? Also, I think he wanted to do an analysis of the station itself.
Right. And it's questionable what that's going to bring about, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Okay. And actually, I want to mention here that Terry Stiles, the executive director and editor, producer here, gave a presentation, a great presentation, I thought, before this board, where she had visited a number of different TV stations throughout the state of Michigan. And she discovered several things that actually this station is doing pretty much what these other stations are doing, and they're using as a premise for their numbers YouTube and some of the other, internet capabilities that are out there.
We're not privy to a lot of information from our providers.
Right.
They're not forthcoming as to how many customers we have and what have you. Our only feedback really is YouTube
Right.
in terms of how many hits we get on individual programs to determine popularity.
Right. Now, she did indicate that we get over 10,000 hits on this thing per month. So that's...
And it's not just me out there clicking away.
Well, I check his fingers, make sure he has no calluses on, just make sure, keep him honest over here.
These are valid hits.
Right. And the thing is, it's just a small indicator of the people that do watch the show. I know you folks that watch the sports that we have and we put on the various, programs here, make comment, when we're out in the field. But,
Right.
so-
But YouTube has a lot of the data of hits and what have you, but we also provide something called, we used to call it Peg Central, we call it Vibit now on our website, where you can go in and watch anything, and it's pretty much in order by reverse date and also by various silos of is it this meeting or that meeting and whatever. Also, what else do we have out there?
Well, I can tell
we
you
put it out on Facebook from time to time.
We do. And there's lots of good information, as most of you have related to. And talk about good information, we'll tell you more when we come back right after this.
Estamos aquí antes que se despierten. Nos quedamos hasta tarde. Nos mantenemos informados. Invertimos en tecnologías de última generación.
Dedicamos tiempo a capacitar a la nueva generación de médicos y enfermeros. Trabajamos en equipo para sanar sus cuerpos y sus mentes.
No lo hacemos porque sea nuestro trabajo, pero porque se trata de la vida de nuestros veteranos. Esta es nuestra misión. Somos más de 300,000 personas trabajando en conjunto, junto a las familias y los seres queridos. Viven donde viven en este país. Ahí estaremos.
Todos estamos unidos y permanecemos unidos para atender a nuestros veteranos. Permanecemos fuertes. Suma la fuerza para cuidar a nuestros veteranos.
Welcome back to Minutes by Minutes. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Dave Kinney.
And we are talking about the Oxford Cable Communications Commission meeting
Right.
that occurred just a few days ago. And we were talking about the capstone presentation that Drew Benson, who's an intern actually for the Village of Oxford.
And he's kind of using this as a project for his, the capstone refers to a final paper or what have you for his master's degree.
That's true. There's quite a lengthy discussion that went on concerning, if they wanted to expense the $7,500, which is what the cost of this project would be. And Bill Dunn, supervisor of the township, was very adamant about the fact that the monies could be used in other ways rather than appropriated for this. And for one strong reason is the fact that he indicated that there were a lot of other previous surveys that they did throughout the village and so forth, and never amounted to anything, never was used. It was shelved after spending thousands and thousands of dollars. So his point is well taken here. So he made a motion right off the get-go here to not approve it, and he did not get any support from the rest of the members.
That's true.
And
That was
so
unusual.
It was turned down. And then Lori Fisher from Addison Township, she made a motion that it be approved for $7,500, and the rest of the people on this board all voted for it, including Ed Hunwick, who is a representative on this board from the township.
Well, all Drew needs now is a valid contract.
That's true. And I think that's being worked, I think, if it already hasn't by this date. So it looks like you folks are going to be getting postcards out there. You'll be hearing more about this, hopefully. We would encourage you folks that enjoy the station to answer these questionnaires and return them.
Well, I think the nature of the questionnaire is basically you'll receive a card in the mail, and it will refer you to a website that will actually ask the questions and tally up the data.
Exactly. That's the way it'll work, I think. How many questions will be on there, by the way?
As many
3,000.
as many as we come to an agreement on, actually. But like any other kind of questionnaire that I've had, where they say, "Oh, we have a short questionnaire here for you," and by the time you've gotten to the 25th question, you're going, "Nope."
Yeah. Well, Drew, I guess the guy that's going to be doing this, he did a project for Rochester, and he said that there's 100 questions on that one, but he's not saying that there would be 100 questions available on this one. It isn't really necessary. How many questions can you get on a postcard? I don't think 100.
Well, it depends how small you type.
Right. Or how small the postcard is, one or the other. Anyway, so it looks like it would be an interesting thing coming up the line here. The station certainly is paying close attention. You should be too out there, folks.
Paying money
Yeah,
too.
Paying money too, yes. Manager report, let me see, what did he talk about? Do you recall? Oh, John Riley, who is a representative in the state of Michigan
Yeah.
in the House. He contacted John Ochins, who is up for a
Philo Award. Right.
and congratulated John.
Philo Award. That's after Philo Farnsworth.
Yes, along with actually Connie's Kitchen with Connie Miller. She's getting an award as well, and she actually is going to be one of the presenters, I understand.
Right.
One of the judges.
And actually, we've had requests from other stations in the state to show Connie's program.
Yes, and it's actually a syndicated program out there, so if you haven't caught it, check it out. It's Connie's Kitchen. Now, Terry gave an excellent presentation. I mentioned that before, and she said that most stations partner up with charitable organizations and nonprofits out there. They also have a video team that they provide, for a technical end, and teach other people, how to use, the equipment and how the system works, on a TV station. So
That's one of our functions.
it is, and that's one of our functions. That's exactly what we do too, and have done in the past. I know since I got here about 6 years ago, something along that line.
Seems a lot longer.
I'm sure it does. Others will probably agree with you there. I'm not at all sure about that one, but so anyway, she did say that there's two systems that they use, and we only use one here in training, and they use Avid and they use Premiere Pro here.
Premiere Pro.
Yeah.
Right.
And does a great job for us. Drone, I made a quick presentation about drone and getting access to being able to shoot B-roll in the village, township, and for the school programs that are occurring. And I believe that the administrative end of the TV station here is going to send letters of request to those various groups, so that if you see a drone flying over and it says OCTV on it, don't be scared, it'll be us. We'll be flying it.
Well, it's sort of a two-tiered thing. We get general permission from the municipalities that we represent, and specific permission from other individuals or organizations that might want us to use that drone.
Of course, there's certain FAA rules required, which we have to concur with. You know, we're flying these things to keep it safe. Also, I
Keep
want
it under 10,000 feet.
10,000
Actually, it's 400 feet,
400
folks.
feet, yeah. Right, you got it. So anyway, I did want to get back to Lori Fisher, though. She resigned from the Communications Commission, as well as she resigned
From NODA?
from NODA. So she will no longer be serving on that.
Is it NODA
As a
or Pollyanna?
conflict, huh? NODA.
Okay.
Yeah, conflict of interest actually was in question here, because she's working as in a position of a clerk for the village. And
Of Oxford.
Of Oxford, yep. And therefore, you know, being with Addison, making decisions, you know, and making decisions as well, you know, on the village standpoint, really doesn't mix too well. Can you say mud? Okay. So anyway, she decided to take the smart way out. and
As a
resign.
lawyer said, I think it could present an image of conflict of interest.
Oh, do you think? It might, yes. And who do you think is going to replace her? I believe it's going to be Jacob Newby.
Yes.
Yeah, and he's a new trustee in Addison Township. Nice, smart young man. And
Good for him.
Looking forward to him joining
Yep.
that group. Now, let's get on to the next one, and that would be the Oxford Planning Commission meeting in the village. Gary Douglas is the chair for that position. Sue Bema serves on that board, as well as Maureen Helmuth and Jack Curtis. Very competent, capable people on that board. Gary Deeg was absent. Also, Russell Gill was absent, as well as Adam Johnson, who also serve on this board. And all three were absent, but they were excused. At the beginning of this meeting, they had a moment of prayer, which is, I think, a nice thing, particularly what has happened in Las Vegas, and you know, and all those folks out there certainly have our heartfelt concern. You know that
Yes.
it's real devastating. We all know. So
Hasn't-
anyway, the prayer it was a good touch, and they did the pledge, got the preliminaries pretty much taken care of, covered the agenda and approval, and September 19th minutes were approved. Then they went into a public hearing. Public hearing, guess what the subject is? You're never going to guess this one. Signs. We're back to
Signs?
signs. Will they ever go away? No.
There will be portents and signs.
Yeah, signs. I see signs.
Signs and portents.
All over, yes. So anyway, they discussed signs, and Chris Corey is the, what do you call him? You remember? He's Chris Corey.
Planner?
Yeah, you got it. See, I was waiting for you to say that. I'll tell you, I don't know. I was
We
afraid
got to
I
have
would have to
flashcards
jump
with this
right
guy.
in there. Okay. Yeah, he's a great planner too. Does a good job, you know, for the village. I want to say, but
Do they coordinate the sign ordinances with the township also?
no, but they should. And they, if they, you know, the township had any input, you know, they certainly would encourage. They do certain things, but there's certain requirements in the village, and you know, along the business district,
wonder-
that quite a bit different.
I wonder how the signage is going to be affected when MDOT comes through and rips everything up.
What signs? No, they're going to have new signs. That's a whole subject that's going to come up.
Well, I'm
with the
sure.
M24. Task force has been busy, you know, trying to put together all the preliminaries, meeting with MDOT. So you folks out there, you'll learn a lot more about what's going on with M24. 2019, not too
Is
soon.
glowing on the calendar right now, 2019.
Yeah, it is glowing. It's oscillating, glowing. Let me see. With that, we'll be back right after this, folks.
Abigail Adams here, just checking up on our springtime goat work on the Pollyann Trail. What's that? Trash on our beautiful trail? Oh, that makes me so happy. We've got so many trash cans all over the trail. It's a beautiful day on the trail, but oh no, this could end badly. Wow, that sure was nice. Folks know not to hog the road. Even goats share. Hey, that gets my goat. Where are you going? Even I have to be out here on a leash. You sure are a nice dog, but stay away from those weeds. I'm gonna eat them later. What a beautiful gift, our Polly Ann Trail. I've got to hit the trail. I hope you will too.
Welcome back to Minutes by Minutes. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Dave Kenny.
And we are talking about what's going on in the Village of Oxford Planning Commission meeting. And Gary Douglas carrying on a pretty good meeting, does a great job. They went to a public hearing and they're talking about signs. And the question was, how far should the signs be set back? Normally it would be 25 feet according to the existing ordinance, but now they've determined that it should be about 20 feet. And also the requirement
20
is-
feet? They're going to move them closer?
Yeah, but that's giving them ability to move the sign, because if you look at the non-conforming signs that are out there, I mean, there's not many that's going to stick with the ordinance. They've all gotten variances up to this point, and that actually was a point of contention, you know, with this board, is that it was turned down by the village council when they requested,
Maybe they'll have to do a reset when MDOT comes through.
yeah, they requested 32 square feet, you know, instead of, you know, what they have now. Because it seems like all these variances have been 32 square feet. Well, the village council turned them down. They said, when are you going to start? You know, if you pass this one, the next group will want a bigger one, or, you know, and then the next one will want a bigger one. But Gary Douglas pointed out that they did a lot of research on this in the past, and they felt it was a smart thing to do rather than have to deal with this every time, you know, somebody files for it. But that wasn't the case, and the chairman said, well, we'll go along with whatever is required. That being said, okay, Chuck Snyder spoke about smoke. He smoked about this. He was smoking.
He must have been hot.
Chuck is pretty calm most
I
of the
know.
time. And he took the podium, though, and spoke about, he measured a number of buildings up and down the strip, you know, where these signs were and so forth, and he said they're all out of conformity. He says, but if you approve the 3 feet from the sidewalk and 3 feet from the building, which is what the proposal is, then they will draw them back into conformity. He said, which would be a good thing. Good job there, Chuck Snyder, keeping an eye on things.
You betcha.
So, yep. So when it was all said and done, I believe that's what they did, and they recommended it. Let me see, what else
So
did
whose
they
ugly
do?
job is it to go after people that...
I gave your name, but I don't
oh,
think...
thanks a lot, bud.
No problem. Anyway,
But is there a person that is in charge of actually making people conform?
Yes, Yep.
What's he called?
a conformer.
I see. Not the enforcer?
The enforcer, yeah. But they do have an officer that goes around
Yeah.
and he, you know,
Ordinance
anybody
control.
that's out of ordinance. Yep. And they will warn you first time. Second time, don't let him come back. Don't let me come back, is what he says.
Don't
So-
make me come back there.
Don't make me come back. Okay. He does a pretty good job out there too. Let me see, what else we got here? Motion to approve. Jack Curtis said go ahead and move forward with it. And the setback 3 feet, and as long as there's clear vision on the corners, you know, and so forth.
Is there a different regulation for signs that are mounted square on the building as
Yes.
opposed to 90 degrees out?
Yes, depends on how much frontage they have and square footage. Determines the size of the sign.
Okay.
And again, you have to get a permit to do that.
Okay.
So, in the village. Now, that pretty much took care of that. Then was there any old business? No. New business, yep. Sign design. Oxford Sushi is coming in, and they're going to be located right next to 51 Diner.
Used to be a
off
sushi
Washington
place
Street.
there before,
Yep.
wasn't there?
Well, there's a new sushi place. A new old sushi place.
If you knew sushi like I know sushi.
Right. And anyway, they have a design that they presented that looks pretty good. And it was approved. It meets the standards. Of actually smaller than what they require. So that went through. And the next approval was for Becker Eye Care, who did a very unique sign for their business on, let me see, trying to think of where they're
They
located.
just built a new building there, didn't they?
They did.
On South Washington.
Right. And their sign is 9.3 square feet in size. And actually, he could have put in a 16 square foot sign. But it's a really unique sign. It has glasses on it, I think.
Oh.
It's looking back at you as you drive by. Better
Oh.
not drive by.
The eyes follow your car?
I think it winks at you if you turn and go in
I
there.
see.
I'm pretty sure. It does something like that. But anyway, so those two signs were approved. Public comment was made on the M24 task force, that joint meeting. They're going to have a joint meeting between the Planning Commission planning commissioners and the Village Council, as well as DDA, and bring this thing all together. And they'll probably have the meeting more than likely, but this could be a rumor, at the library, because they have a little more space there to hold people. Then also I want to mention that Sue Bellairs, there's a memorial drive to have her recognized at the Powell Park, new park that they're going to be putting in.
New park?
Near Powell Lake, you know, a small park area.
I thought they had a park there.
Well, they're working on it. There's Boy Scout that's working on it right now, developing it. But they want to do a plaque there, something memorial for Sue Ann Ballers, who served the township for many years.
Yeah.
So that will be done. And so if you folks would like to donate, you know, contact, let me see, who shall they contact? Let's contact the
Village.
Yeah, could contact the village, or you can contact, let me see, Addison Township, or not Addison Township. Let's pick another one. How
Oxford
about
Township.
Orion Township.
Oxford Township.
Donnie Steele. Contact Donnie Steele at Orion Township. And
Orion Township?
Yep, Orion Township. And this is for the Pollyant Trail.
Oh, okay.
So contact Donnie Steele at Orion Township, and she will be able to fill you in what you need to do, and we'll be happy to help you out if you want to give away some cash to help out in this process of getting the plaque. Let me see what else we have. Okay, that's pretty much it. Now let's talk about quickly the Oxford Village Council special meeting that they had.
Yep.
Sue Bassardit chairs that. Let me see. Maureen Helmuth is on that board. Dave Bailey, Eric Dolan is on that board, and there's one vacancy on the board.
Tom Kennis left, didn't he?
Tom Kennis left. And the whole purpose behind this meeting was for the village manager interview. And they interviewed a lady, her name is Jan Marie Hughbanks. And she has quite an array of background experience as far as a manager. She's worked in Ferndale for 25 years. They have roughly about 20,000 residents within that community. She was a finance director and a treasurer. She's currently working in Royal Oak trying to help them out because they've got dire need of assistance in terms of personnel.
Sounds like a lot of experience.
Yeah, she has a lot of experience. She has a master's degree. She's been a consultant. Her parents are from Oxford originally, so she's familiar with the community. It's a pretty good thing. Skills, she's budgetary skills and finance. She has done numerous grants out there.
Grants are good.
Grants are good. She said that there's little things within grants that either idiosyncrasies that will allow you to either them to accept the grant or not. And so all the grants she allowed actually signed off from Ferndale because she wanted to make sure that they went through. So anyway, it looks very promising. In the end, they decided to table her application until they could think about it a little bit more until the next meeting. She couldn't be available anyway for at least a month because she doesn't want to leave Royal Oak because of the dire need they have. So what's coming up?
We do have meetings on 10/16 at 6 o'clock, Addison Township Board will be meeting, and at 6 o'clock that same day, Village of Oxford Downtown Development Authority.
Yep.
And on 10/17 we have 3 meetings, all at 7 o'clock, Addison Township Fire Board meeting, Addison Township Library Board, and the Village of Oxford Planning Commission. And on 10/18 at 3 o'clock, the Pollyant Trail Management Council will be meeting at the Addison Township offices. And on 10/19 at 7 o'clock, the Village of Leonard Planning Commission, and
That's it?
last but not
One more?
least,
What's the last one?
4:30 on 10/19, NODA will be meeting at the Orion Township offices.
Wow, we got a lot going on, don't we?
Yes, we do.
I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Dave Kenny.
Catch you next time right here on Minutes by Minute.
See you then. Ta-da!
Ta-da!